I've had so much sugar today that there is like no hope for my brain keeping track of what's happening. So let's try our best. We do not know why Winnie is so clingy right now, but I'll show you. My wish for all of you is that someone in your life looks at you the way Winnie looks at me, or the way Winnie looks at food. Either or. It's just really charming. Hi kids, welcome back to another pizza party. I'm Mrs. Pizza, and today I've had far too much sugar and I'm trying my best. But we are here to do the beginning of the year book tag. This book tag was created by Larry from Larry Reads. Pretty sure you know who Larry is, especially if you read romance and consume the booktubness. She's kind of like if an energy drink was a person in the best way possible. Like the amount of energy that is inside of her and the amount of energy it gives you after you watch her or consume her content is just, she's just like an energy shot, really. But she also really loves romance books, and she created this tag, I believe, 2 years ago, but this is the updated version that she came out with this year. We're going to do it. We're going to do a book tag because I love talking about books, and if you give me prompts to talk about books, I am living my best life. I'm going to be real honest. I really have a problem with sticking to the prompts or answering them completely or correctly in any book tag, not just this book tag. For like the 1 millionth time, have had so much sugar. I got a bag of those conversation hearts, which, we'll be honest, don't really taste like anything, even though the flavors are listed on the back of the bag. There's one that tastes like off, and I don't know what color it is, but every time I eat it, just kind of like sends a shock through your system. Like, that's an unnatural flavor you shouldn't be consuming. They don't taste like anything, but for some reason, like the crunch, the texture is so good. They are so hard and they crunch so well. And so I just keep popping them in my mouth. I've had a lot. I'm just gonna try to human right now. Let's do a beginning of the year book tag. I don't really do a lot of tags. I don't feel like I do the end of the year book tag. I do the mid-year freak out book tag. So doing a book tag at the beginning of a new year sounds like a lot of fun. Cheese is licking. Stop licking. I can hear you. Cheese. I want you to be embarrassed by the amount of licking you're doing. It's a nasty sound effect. Thank you. Welcome to the party. Let's do this. The first question is, how many books are you planning on reading in 2025? I always set my goal at 100 books because it's a goal that is somewhat easy for me to meet without being completely ridiculous. I usually average about 120. The heat just kicked on. My dryer is going and the heat just kicked on. At this point, a brass band should walk by and just play us a jaunty tune. Or that man with his car. He hasn't driven by yet today. That'll be fun for us. I always set my goal at around 100 books because I usually get to at least 120 books. So 100 books is something that I can easily reach without putting too much pressure on myself, but it's not like 10, which if you just read 10 books a year, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. I'm happy if you read one book a year. If you don't read any books a year, maybe try a little harder. You could just do one, just one. Question number 2 is, what is a book you're likely to reread this year? Where's she at? This book. Swordheart by Kingfisher, which is getting a new cover and a traditional publishing re-release this year. I will be purchasing that because I love this book. I'm not usually the type of person to have multiple copies of books. I'm quite a book purger as well. If I don't like a book, it doesn't need to stay in my house. My house is not large. She's old and there's not a lot of storage space. So you must be a favorite for me to have multiple copies of you. But I have now reread Swordheart every single year since the first time I read it, and this is just like such a cozy, sweet story. It warms my heart. Usually at some point of the year, if not multiple times in the year, my anxiety gets the better of me, and this is like one of the few books that I am able to pick up every single time and focus on and really enjoy. One, probably because I know I love it, and there's something about anxiety with re-consuming things that you've already seen / watched / read, whatever in the past, something you are familiar with that is cozy and lovely, and I love this story. This is the story of Hala, and she is a housekeeper, and she works for the eccentric uncle of her deceased husband. So Hala is a widower. No, she's a widow. Widower is man. One day, the uncle passes away, and he wills his entire fortune and his house full of stuff to Hala. But his family is absolutely not having that. They want the money and the property to stay within the family, and so they lock Hala in a room and try and force her to marry one of the cousins, and he's got like zero spine and like really sweaty hands. And so Hala is not into this. She gets really desperate. And so when she's locked in this room, she unsheaths a sword that is in this room full of stuff that the uncle collected. And a man pops out like a genie in a bottle. His name is Sarkis, and he is the servant of the sword, and now he is sworn as Hala's protector, and these two go on an adventure to save Hala from this family. That's what makes it cozy. It's not really saving the world, it's just saving Hala. We make friends that become a family along the way. We're going from point A to point B and back again, and Hala and Sarkis are absolutely hilarious. I have a feeling that this person that just pulled in front of my house is here to deliver a package, and the dogs are literally going to lose their bananas because that's what they do. We're going to pause. All right, instantaneous for you, several minutes later for me. I don't even remember what I was talking about. I was talking about Swordheart. I'm going to reread this. It's sweet and cozy and lovely and funny, and there's a very, Sarkis is very grumpy and stern. Hala has this really dizzying way that her mind works, but the two of them at first, he's slightly annoyed by her and her personality quirks, but she grows on him quickly. This is a romance, and it's cozy, and it's fantasy, and I will reread it. There, I did it. The next question is, what is a priority read for your 2025 TBR? That is going to be, where'd I put her? This bad boy, Empire of the Damned. This is the second book in, is this just a duology? Is it a trilogy? I have no answers for myself. This is the second book, the first book being Empire of the Vampire. This giant chunk of This is Chuck. Charles, if you want to get really crazy. This giant book is a book about vampires. I feel like the sugar is already flagging. Should I go eat more of those little conversation hearts? No. We should not have any more sugar. This is a fantasy novel taking place in a world where the sun has gone red and vampires have taken over, and we are given a story through the perspective of Gabriel, who is basically the boogeyman for vampire kind. He is a elite soldier raised through a secret order of elite soldiers, and he's the last one left. The opening of the story, he is being imprisoned by the vampires, and they want to know his story. There are two timelines that he is recounting, one when he is a young man and how he became a warrior within this order, training and whatnot. And the second timeline, which he is also talking about, is him as an older man. I think he's like 30, and he's battle hardened and grumpy and has seen too many things, and he ends up going on an adventure that he's not really into going in on. He's not really into this, but he ends up going, and it is the catalyst to him becoming the boogeyman to vampire kind. This book had me in a chokehold. Absolutely obsessed. Could not stop talking about it. Then this book came out, and I was so excited, and I haven't touched it. I don't know what my problem is. I don't know what my problem is a lot of the time. Joe Abercrombie says, a ripping read, dark as black coffee and savage as a slit throat. Okay. Thanks, Joe. This book is something that I'm really excited about, anticipating, and I just need to get to it. I just need to take the plunge and pick up something I know I'm going to love. Number 4 is an author you won't be reading more books from this year. Nothing comes to mind. I mean, there's definitely authors that I feel like I've given a fair shake to and they just aren't for me, but there's none in particular that are like sitting on my brain. No, TBD. Perhaps there will be somebody that I give up on this year, but there hasn't been anybody yet. I'm just giving them all the chances. I just keep giving people all the chances, you know? Number 5, something new you want to read, new genres or tropes. I don't really have any. My reading is just kind of all over the place. I am an incredibly moody mood reader. I really enjoy reading a wide variety of things. If I read too much fantasy in a row, I get really burnt out. Too much horror in a row, I get really burnt out. I have to kind of pick and choose whatever is speaking to me in the moment. And because of that, I don't feel like I'm stuck within like any specific genre. I do want to get to more classics again this year. I was really good about reading classics. I think it was like year before last. I did a really good job of kind of getting to a lot more what was considered classic literature, and I do want to pick up a lot more nonfiction, but I tend to pick nonfiction that is just kind of weird. I love stuff that is incredibly interesting and very niche, and so I tend to go looking for the oddest things that just spark my interest. But I guess it would be those two things, classics and nonfiction. maybe. But they're not new to me genres. I definitely read within those genres somewhat frequently. I just want to focus more on getting to more of those books throughout this year. Number 6, a popular book you want to read. I actually was just talking to a friend of mine, and they told me there's 2 series that I really need to get to, and they were very surprised that I hadn't gotten to them yet. One of those being When the Moon Hatched, which the only thing I know about that is it's dragon and fantasy romance. There's dragons, which honestly, that's really all I need to know. I think there's a second book in that series is coming out this year, and so they told me to read it and that I would like it, and I trust them. I trust them a lot. The other one would be The Crowns of Nyaxia. It's like Serpent in the Wings of Night, and that whole series. I've read a novella from that series. I kind of dipped my toe in to see if that author was someone that I would enjoy their writing. And so there is a novella within that series that you can kind of read as a standalone. I picked that up. I enjoyed it. Everyone was reading this book. Everyone. Like, I'm pretty sure that if you went out in public and tapped a stranger on the shoulder and you're like, excuse me, what are you currently reading? They'd first of all be like, don't touch me. Get away from me. Also, I'm reading The Crowns of Nyaxia, Serpent in the Wings of Night. I don't know why I haven't picked this up, but those are 2 series that I'm really interested in getting to this year. We'll see. I have commitment problems when it comes to books. Number 7 is your most anticipated book release of 2025. I actually have a few. The one there, and just... I didn't say a single word in that sentence. I am a very moody mood reader. And so even looking at the books that I'm excited about reading, like if you put these 3 books together, you'd be like, I don't think I can picture who this person is and what their reading style is. Obviously, Kimberly Lemming's new book, which looks absolutely bananas. I have pre-ordered it. It will show up at my house and I will consume it within 24 hours of it being in my grubby little paws. I really enjoy Kimberly Lemming's sense of humor. I have a parasocial, even though I barely know much about her other than she is an author, but I feel like her sense of humor is my cup of tea. If I met her in real life, I would do the creepy thing of being like, I feel like we would be best friends. I bet she gets that all the time because her books are just so funny and fun. She wrote... This literally just went flying, but it landed on the dog bed. So thank goodness, because the air vent is right there, and I don't know how we would have gotten broken glass out of the air vent. She wrote the Mead Mishap series. This is a series of really funny, spicy fantasy romance that literally has you laughing out loud. The first book is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. And this is the story of Cinnamon, who one day when walking home from a festival in town, slightly intoxicated, she encounters a person who needs help. She helps them, and oops, she accidentally saved a demon. And this whole act of kindness that she accidentally did while she was drunk off her butt catapults her into an adventure she didn't want to go on the first place, and spicy things happen. I enjoy this book. This is not the best book in the series. And so this is, if you like this, please continue because the series gets better and better. This series, I believe, is going to have one more book, which makes me sad that this just won't go on indefinitely till the end of time. But I understand that that's a big ask. So this new rom-com that looks like it's going to have spicy aliens and nonsense and more of Kimberly Lemming's just signature humor is something I'm very excited about picking up. There is also going to be a sequel, or actually, we should talk about the one that should be showing up at my house sometime in the very near future. And that is going to be The Teeth of Dawn, which is the 3rd and final book in the Helm of Midnight. I think this is called The 5 Penalties is the name of this series. Let me just hold one up instead of trying to hold 2 up because that's nonsensical. The Helm of Midnight starts this series off, and this is a fantasy world where people can imbue masks with the attributes of people. Does that make sense out loud? Let me explain that further. So let's say you are an incredible piano player, top notch, just best in your field. Upon your death, a mask will be made and placed upon you, and all of your aptitude for playing the piano, all of your talent and skill will then be put into this mask. Then, if someone after your death puts this mask on, they will be able to play the piano like some kind of genius. They will have all of your talent while wearing this mask. So lots of masks are made in this world, and lots of people have access to these masks for different things. They can make you good at math. They can make you good at fighting. And in this world, a mask has been created after there was a prolific serial killer. A mask was made of this serial killer. Don't ask questions. It is explained in the book, but just don't ask questions because that sounds like the absolute worst thing that could ever be done. Our main character, what is her name? I have lost it in the maze that is my mind. Our main character is Krona, and she is a member of a kind of like military police that is tasked with guarding this party where this mask of a serial killer will be presented so rich and fancy people can mill around, drink champagne, and look at the ooky spooky mask. Well, you better believe that the mask is stolen, and now Krona is going on an adventure/investigation trying to figure out why the mask was stolen, who took it, what they're doing with it in this fantasy world. I am not a fan of police procedurals. They just don't work for me. I get irritated with them, and that's a personal problem, and I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on it. But this, even though it could have felt police procedural because we do have Krona, who is a police-ish officer, doing an investigation about something that was stolen, serial killer mask, blah, blah, blah. I was never bored. This borders on like horror fantasy as well. This was incredibly well done, and I really enjoyed it. And then we have the second book where we have Krona reeling from the fallout of the ending of the first book. The world opens up. You get more lore about this fantasy world and magic systems and gods, and this was so much fun. I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to see how this world opens up even more and the conclusion of some of the reveals that we received at the ending of this book. I'm really excited about that book as well, and it should be here soon. I had to do some digging because it was really hard to find a hardcover of it for some reason. I don't know why everybody was trying to send me a paperback, and that would not match my current aesthetic of the book series. Number 8 is a bookish goal for 2025. I don't think I have one. I mean, like, I have reading goals and I have life goals. I have goals. I'm not goalless. I don't think I have like a bookish goal. I think I just want to continue to have fun because I feel like when you are doing any sort of recording of your reading, whether that is on YouTube or Bookstagram or even on like Goodreads or Fable, which, sidebar, I just joined Fable and I'm having a grand old time. Anything that kind of keeps track of your reading but also keeps track of other people's reading, it can put pressure on you, unnecessary pressure. And so I'm trying to just be present in what I'm doing and just keep having fun. I'm having fun reading. I'm having fun making videos. I just want to keep having fun. And if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to force myself to do something that's not fun. Life's too short and I'm too old. So that's my bookish goal. Have fun. That's so surface level. It's like, I just want to be like, and having fun, you know? 9, a book that's been on your TBR that you probably won't ever read. I refuse to put this on the internet because if I put it on the internet, that almost feels like I'm sealing that book's fate. I am a weird, moody mood reader. If I have a book, I will eventually get to it. And if I don't, I purge it. I work in a setting where I know a lot of people that read. I can give them books that I don't need to have around. There are plenty of free little libraries. There are places nearby that take donations. I sell books on Pango. Like, I will get rid of a book if it does not spark joy. So I feel like looking around at all my books, especially because pretty recently I put up my new bookshelves, and so I did a little mini purge then. There is nothing on these shelves that I don't have intentions of getting to. And I feel like if I look at one and I decide that I have no intentions of that, then it's gone. They've survived so many cullings. Yeah, all the books here I want to read. What are we on? Number 10, a series you want to read this year. Well, I said Crowns of Nyaxia. That counts, right? I want to read that one. Do you know what I really should do? I'm not starting any new series. I mean, I will because I know me and something will sound fun and I'll start it. But like, I do not need to start any new series. You want to know why? Because I read this book, but I haven't read the second book, which I didn't. I've started this series, haven't continued on. Look at this one. Look at this. I actually own Malice. I have read Malice, which is the reason I own all of these. I found every single one of these books at a secondhand bookstore near me individually. So someone was reading this series and then dropping the books off, I guess, at the secondhand bookstore in they would read one, drop it off, read the next one, drop it off. I don't know. But I lent Malice to a friend and he didn't return it. And so now I've been on the lookout for another copy of Malice. In his defense, I have several of his books I have not returned as well. I'm not mad about it, but that is the story of why there's only 3 instead of 4 books sitting here. I flew through Malice. What is my problem? Do I not like having fun? Who knows? Not me. All that to say, no new series. Winnie has terrible gas. Absolutely terrible gas. You have the bubbly butt right now. And I love you so completely. But you need to stop farting. It's foul. I'm trying to live my life. Don't look at me with that sad face. Just stop farting. Okay? Thank you. Number 11, your auto by authors going into 2025. Kimberly Lemming. Literally have no idea what that book is about. Buying it. Done. Number 12, a book to show adaptation you're excited about this year. I really am actually excited about The Monkey, which is coming out here soon. Oz Perkins, who did, Blackcoat's Daughter, what's the most recent one? Longlegs, a bunch of stuff. Has a Stephen King adaptation. I have the book. Hold, please. Has an adaptation of the short story The Monkey coming out either this month or next month. I think that Oz Perkins has a really creepy brain. I enjoy his horror movies. They affect me. I am scared by them. But not like the kind of scared where it stays with me for a long time. The kind of scares where I enjoy my time. Because if you ever watched a scary movie and then you just are unwell for a week, I don't like those. I don't like the ones that stick in my brain. I like the ones that we have a good time, we get scared out of our pants and we move on. Not to say that they don't have depth, but if it stays with me for a week, I gotta live my life, It looks like the adaptation for The Monkey is going to be more of a horror comedy, or at least have comedic tone to it. I think it's gonna be pretty different from the short story. The short story is incredibly short and is the story of a man who has you don't really know if it's a paranormal supernatural monkey or if he's just seeing correlations and connections between things that are happening. Until later on in the story you kind of get answers to that, but it is a monkey. It is a monkey like this monkey, one of those creepy monkeys with the cymbals that you wind up and they smash the cymbals together. It's a harbinger of death. When the monkey bangs his cymbals together, someone's going to die. It looks like from the trailer that this is going to be very funny, bloody, just a crazy nonsense good time, and those are the kind of horror movies that I like. Honestly, I like most horror movies. I don't know why I'm trying to sound like I have preferences. I don't. I'm talking about right now. I think that's it. There's a lot of stuff that I know has been the rights have been optioned, but there's nothing kind of set in stone about when stuff is coming out. Because I heard that Emily Henry, I think it's People We Meet on Vacation, I think is the first one that's getting adapted, but I don't know when, where, how, who. I know why, because it was good. Sorry, now I have the hiccups. What is life? I'm really struggling today. Number 13, a sequel you are anticipating. I feel like I've talked about this a lot. I do have one more. I did kind of save this for this one. It is Queen Demon, which, oh my God, I'm so terrible at pulling these books down. All right, Queen Demon is the sequel to The Witch King by Martha Wells, which I have a gorgeous copy of. This is the story of, is it Kai? It's been so long since I read this. Yes, it's Kai. Kai is a demon from a realm that exists under this world. This is a fantasy world, and in this world, demons have the ability to take on the bodies of those who have recently deceased. So when someone's soul leaves their body, if the demon is there right at that moment, they can take over the body as their own body. It doesn't turn into a gross zombie body or anything like that. It is basically an exchange. The demon now has this body and uses it like they would a body. Our main character, Kai, wakes up and finds out that some treachery has happened. He has been betrayed. His friends, his found family, who he loves and trusts beyond measure, are all scattered to the wind, and he doesn't know how he ended up where he is. So then we are going with Kai on this journey to find all of his friends, find out what happened to him, how did he end up where he was. It's fun. I will say with this, Martha Wells, if you've read the Murderbot series, you know that she has an incredibly good sense of humor. That is very much present in this. You will adore Kai. I want nothing but good things for Kai. I absolutely love this character. But this is not the easiest as far as fantasy goes, and I like to describe it to people as a version of peanut butter. So things like fantasy romance, fantasies like this, I like to call these creamy peanut butter. They are a fantasy world. There is some sort of magic system, but they're not fantasy forward, and the magic system is incredibly easy to understand. Then you have crunchy peanut butter. I'm trying to think of a good example of crunchy peanut butter. Brandon Sanderson, I feel like, has a lot of crunchy peanut butter stuff where it takes a little more brain power power, and they slowly give more and more of the magic system to you as you go. The 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. That is crunchy peanut butter. The magic system is something that you learn throughout the entirety of the book, and even if you spend a lot of time thinking about it, you'll never really feel like you have a full grip on it, but it's not necessary to completely understand because you understand that the author understands. Holy crap. Winnie, why are you farting? God, it smells like death and carrots. This is like straight up peanuts slapped on the table. This is a complicated magic system. This is a complicated magic fantasy world. There's no like heavy exposition moments, or I'm sure there is, but it never feels like you're having a heavy exposition moment. You are given the information in this world through characters who already understand it. So they don't need to stop and explain that often. There is a character that is introduced that obviously isn't very versed in the magic that these people use, and so there is some time given to small explanations to that character. But for the most part, you just have to pick it up as it goes along and just know that the author understands it, and you will understand as much as you need to know. I really enjoyed this book, and I cannot wait to have more Kai, to see where his friends are, to just get more in this world. Question number 14, bookish things you're leaving in 2024. What am I leaving in 2024, Winnie? With some bookish stuff I'm leaving in 2024. Lord knows I don't. You tell me. What should I leave in 2024? What are you leaving in 2024? Because I can't think of an answer. I'm just trying my best. Okay. Number 15. What to expect from this account? Reading books and talking about them. Because I'm trying to read more backlist books that I'm excited about. I'm just trying to read books that make me happy. I'm trying to pick things up with the intention of them being things that I'm going to enjoy, because I personally really enjoy watching someone talk about a book they liked versus a book they hated. I know some people hate read, and don't get me wrong, every once in a while it is really fun to watch someone just like dissect why this is the most awful book they've ever read in their entire life. I don't really have that in me. I don't know why, but I just don't have that ability. I really am trying to purposely go in, find books that I think I'm going to enjoy. Not that I want to enjoy because everybody else likes them, but because I think I will personally enjoy them, and putting them down if I don't. I'm here to read books I love because it's fun to talk about books you love. Like, it's fun to watch someone talk about books they love. That's it. That's what you're getting from me. Number 16, how has your reading taste evolved from last year? My reading taste is all over the place. I am such a moody mood reader. I can't say it's necessarily evolved. I think I was less intimidated by really large books previously, and I think I've gotten a little intimidated by really big books because there are so many books I want to read, and it feels like I'm going to be sitting with big books for a long time, but that makes zero sense. I will also, just like sidebar asterisk this, I'm the type of person that will wait forever to watch the final episode of like a favorite TV show because I don't want it to be over. So I have a really hard time, like if I really like something, finishing it. I don't want it to end. I have gotten really bad about not finishing things because I don't want it to be over, which makes zero sense because I'm not enjoying it to its end, to its finality. That makes zero sense. I need to finish more series, I should say, that I'm interested in. Either say I'm done with them or actually pick them up. Number 17, booktube creators that inspire you. There's lots of people. I really enjoy watching people talk about books they love. So I feel like, let's just see who I've been watching recently. Ooh, Steph Morgan. I really enjoy her channel. I feel like she has a really like cultivated taste in books. Even though we don't necessarily like always align on what we're reading, the things that I pick up that she has read and enjoyed, I also tend to read and enjoy. It's kind of like where we overlap well. And I recently purchased Rebecca because she has talked about how much she absolutely loves this book. And this sounds and feels like something I should have read already. So she's influenced me to purchase Rebecca and hopefully pick it up sometime soon. Allie Do Is Read. I just watched her vlog where she used dice to determine how much she was reading, and she is just such a breath of fresh air. I think she's absolutely adorable, and even though I don't think we always align on taste, I just enjoy watching her talk about books. And do you know who I just watched this morning? Sid Bookworm. which you've probably already heard of a lot of these people because they're very large creators. But I just feel like every time I watch one of Sid's videos, she reads a variety of genres, but I always feel like I have a good time watching her. Also, her dog is really cute. I feel like Sid has a lot of different videos that you won't necessarily see on other channels. She's trying to come up with things that are different and new, and I enjoy that. It's not just the same 4 videos that every booktuber makes, which there's honestly nothing wrong with making the same 4 booktube videos because I enjoy watching them. That's the only ones that are coming to my brain right now. There's lots more people. I watch a lot of booktube. I love you all. Thank you for talking about books. What's the last one? Something you want to say to anyone wanting to start a bookish account. Go for it. Just have fun. That's what I would say. As someone that isn't necessarily huge, and I probably will never be, and that's okay because I enjoy doing this. You should do it because you enjoy it. You shouldn't do it because you see someone who is incredibly successful and has been able to turn this into a profession. Maybe that'll be you, you know? Maybe that will be you, and I hope it is. But really, for the most part, I can tell when someone's having fun, and that's what really comes across for me. I want someone to be excited about what they're talking about. I want to be excited about what they're talking about, so just do it because you want to have fun. Don't do it for any other reason. Talk about whatever kind of books it is you're reading too, because I feel like I see a lot of the same books, and sometimes that's because those books are great, and it really helps me be like, wow, so many people really enjoyed that. I need to pick it up. But sometimes I just love finding someone who is like read something completely out of my stratosphere. I have never heard of this book, and they tell you how great it is, and it's so exciting to find that person who is just excited to talk about books. So that would be the only thing I would say. Get excited, have fun. That's the only real reason to be here, because you want to talk about books and you want to have fun. But I can feel the sugar energy slowly diminishing. My battery is just blinking at this point. If you had fun hanging out with me and the dogs, please subscribe. I need to do something about the fact that Winnie has the most horrendous gas right now. But don't you shame her. Don't you judge her. She's ancient. She's an old lady. She's also asleep with her eyes open right now, like a demon. I hope you're reading good books out there, wherever you are, and I'd love to hear about them. And I'll see you next time. Winnie, you're lucky you're cute, because you smell like a fart.